In order to escape the police, a gang member randomly threw the drugs into the hands of an old woman. However, instead of calling the police, the old woman returned the drugs to the gang leader. Seeing that she was an elderly woman in her 80s, the leader was stunned. The old woman then said she wanted to join the gang and sell drugs together. She pointed out that the leader's men were all known to the police, but she was different. She had no criminal record, and the police would never suspect an old woman of dealing drugs. So, the leader cut off a kilogram of drugs and let the old woman give it a try. She then disguised herself and started asking people if they wanted to buy drugs. However, others thought she was sent by the police and were too scared to buy. Eventually, the persistent old woman found her first buyer. After that, other people realized she was not a police informant and began to buy drugs from her. She even got repeat customers. Soon, she sold out all her drugs. When she returned to the leader with the money, everyone present was shocked. The leader also gave her her commission as agreed. This time, the leader gave her more drugs. In the following days, the old woman often appeared in places where other gang members gathered. The area had poor security, which made it easier for her to sell her goods. Within a few days, she became the biggest supplier there, and other people's drugs couldn't be sold. One day, she was stopped by other drug dealers. They not only took her goods but also robbed her of her money and threatened her not to sell there anymore. However, the old woman did not give up. She mixed eggs with the drugs and made them into small cakes. Then she invited a few of her friends to taste them at her home. Everyone said the cakes were delicious. With the cakes containing drugs, she began selling them. In just a short morning, all her cakes were sold out. She then returned to the leader with the money. But this week, she had already come 3 times. Her sales were higher than what the leader's men made in a whole year. The old woman wanted to increase her commission to 30%. The leader disagreed, but the old woman said she would find another supplier if he didn't agree. Reluctantly, the leader had to agree. Because the cakes contained drugs, many people became addicted. More and more people came to the old woman to buy cakes. This time, it only took 2 days to sell out again. So, the leader decided to give her even more drugs. But the old woman also knew that she couldn't do it alone. She invited the gang members who had robbed her to her home. At first, they looked down on the old woman, but after eating the cakes on the table, they realized she had added flour to them. The old woman had invited these people to help her distribute the cakes, and she was willing to pay them 15% as a reward. They eventually reached an agreement. From then on, people kept coming to the old woman's home to buy cakes. She also invited her friends to join in making the cakes. In this way, the old woman made a lot of money through her cakes.